What if I told you that the financial struggles you face, that feeling of being stuck, of pushing against an invisible barrier, has almost nothing to do with your strategy, your budget, or your investment plan? What if the reason abundance feels so elusive, so close, and yet impossibly far, is because you are trying to fill a container that is subconsciously, energetically, sealed shut? You can pour all the knowledge, all the effort, all the affirmations in the world onto it, but until you dissolve the seal, nothing can truly get in. You've done the work. You've read the books. You understand the law of attraction on an intellectual level. And still, you find yourself here, in that quiet space between knowing you deserve more and the reality reflected in your bank account. This is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you are ready for a deeper journey. Welcome to the Abundance Alchemist. I am Elias Vance, and today we embark on a journey of profound transformation. We will not be discussing stock tips or side hustles. We will be performing alchemy, the sacred work of turning the lead of your financial resistance into the pure, radiant gold of effortless flow. This audiobook is your guide, your personal grimoire containing 9 sacred rituals. These are not mere meditations. They are potent practices designed to systematically dismantle the invisible wall you feel between you and your prosperity. We will travel into the deep recesses of your subconscious mind, into the very vibration of your energy field, to locate and heal the wounds that have been silently sabotaging your financial life for years. I remember a client, a wonderfully intelligent woman named Claire, who came to me in desperation. "Elias," she said, "I have a vision board the size of my wall. I say affirmations until I'm hoarse. I've visualized $1 million 1,000 times. But every month, it's the same struggle. It feels like I'm screaming my desires into a void." Claire's problem wasn't her desire or her effort. It was the quiet, subtle energy of resistance she was broadcasting 24 hours a day. An unconscious belief inherited from her parents who struggled through a recession that money was fundamentally unsafe and that having just enough was the only way to avoid catastrophic loss. Her conscious mind was asking for wealth, but her nervous system was screaming for safety. And the nervous system always wins. This audiobook is designed to resolve that inner conflict. It is the bridge between your spiritual values and your desire for financial freedom. You will learn how to want wealth without guilt, how to receive it without shame, and how to manage it as a sacred extension of your contribution to the world. So find a quiet space. Allow your body to relax, and give yourself permission to receive this wisdom. For the journey we're about to take is not about acquiring something you lack. It is about awakening a truth that is already within you. Let us begin. Chapter 1. The energetic nature of financial flow. Before we can begin the sacred work of our rituals, we must first establish a new foundation of understanding, a new lens through which to view the concept we call money. For most of us, money is a purely physical concept. It's paper, it's coins, it's numbers on a screen. We see it as a finite resource to be earned, saved, and spent. A thing outside of ourselves that we must chase and acquire. But this perception, my friends, is the very bedrock of scarcity. It is the first layer of lead we must transmute. The alchemical truth is this: money is not a thing. It is energy. More specifically, it is a current of value exchange energy. Like electricity, it needs a clear, unobstructed channel to flow. It is neutral. It is not good. It is not evil. It simply amplifies the intention of the person who wields it. Imagine a river. The water itself isn't good or bad. It simply flows. If the riverbed is clear and open, the water flows powerfully and nourishes everything along its banks. If the riverbed is filled with boulders, fallen trees, and debris, the water becomes a stagnant, murky pool, or it is diverted elsewhere. You are the riverbed. Your consciousness, your beliefs, your emotional state, these form the landscape through which the current of abundance flows. The boulders and debris are the subconscious blocks, the limiting beliefs, the energetic resistance we carry. For years, you may have been trying to force more water into a blocked river. You've tried to hustle harder, to grind more, to force the flow. But the real work, the alchemist's work, is not to force the river. It is to clear the channel. When the channel is clear, the flow is natural, effortless, inevitable. This is a fundamental shift in perspective that changes everything. It moves you from a state of chasing to a state of attracting, from a state of doing to a state of being. When you see money as an external object, you are always in a position of lack, trying to get it. But when you understand that you are the channel for financial energy, your focus shifts inward. The question is no longer, how do I get more money? The question becomes, what is within me that is blocking the flow? I recall a conversation with a brilliant artist, a man whose work was breathtaking, but whose life was a constant struggle. He believed with every fiber of his being in the trope of the starving artist. He felt that to be a true, pure artist, he must reject materialism. His art was his gift to the world, and he felt it was somehow tainted by charging a fair price. He had built a massive dam in his own river, a belief system that said spirituality and wealth could not coexist in the same channel. He was resisting the very energy of exchange that would have allowed his art to flourish and reach even more people. The inner work for him wasn't about marketing. It was about giving himself permission to receive value in exchange for the immense value he was creating. When he finally healed that block, his entire reality shifted. So as we begin, I want you to hold this metaphor in your mind. The river of abundance. It is constantly flowing, available to all. Is not a limited resource that you must fight for. Your only work is to tend to your own riverbed, to lovingly, patiently, and systematically remove the debris. The 9 rituals in this guide are your tools for this sacred work. Each one is designed to remove a specific type of obstruction, from the large boulders of inherited trauma to the fine silt of daily anxieties. Let's consider for a moment the language we use. We talk about cash flow, currency, liquid assets. The language of water is already embedded in our financial vocabulary. This is no accident. Our collective unconscious knows this truth. Currency comes from the Latin currere, to run or to flow. It is meant to move. When we hoard it out of fear, we stagnate it. When we block it with feelings of unworthiness, we divert it. When we feel guilty for wanting it, we push it away. Your task is not to become a money-making machine. Your task is to become a pristine, open and powerful conduit for universal abundance. A channel so clear that wealth flows through you, for your own joy and for the betterment of the world. It's a profound shift from a mindset of accumulation to a mindset of circulation. When you are in this state of flow, money comes to you easily because it is an expression of the value you are allowing to move through you. It becomes a natural byproduct of your alignment. Before we move to the next chapter and begin to identify the specific blocks in your channel, take a deep breath. Right now, inhale deeply, and as you exhale, I want you to visualize a beautiful, powerful river flowing effortlessly through a wide, open channel. See the water sparkling in the sun. Feel its power, its grace, its infinite supply. Now in your mind's eye, see that this river is flowing through you. You are the landscape. You are the channel. And you have the power to clear the way. Repeat this simple truth to yourself, either silently or aloud. I am the channel. The flow is natural. Let this be the foundation upon which we build everything else. Chapter 2. Unmasking the 3 veils of subconscious money blocks. Now that we have established our new understanding of money as a flow of energy, we must become detectives of our own inner world. We must learn to identify the specific obstructions that are cluttering our channel. These blocks are rarely conscious. You will not find a thought in your mind that says, I want to be poor. It's far more subtle, more insidious than that. Subconscious money blocks are like faulty code running in the background of your operating system. They influence your decisions, color your emotions, and shape your reality without you ever being aware of their presence. They operate under 3 primary veils: inherited beliefs, personal money traumas, and spiritual misconceptions. To heal them, we must first have the courage to see them. The first veil is that of inherited beliefs. These are the financial blueprints handed down to you by your family, your culture, and your upbringing. They were absorbed by you before you had the critical faculty to question them. They are the financial air you breathed as a child. Did you grow up hearing phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, we can't afford that, or rich people are greedy? These are not just phrases. They are energetic imprints. They are lines of code that were installed in your young mind, forming the very foundation of your relationship with wealth. Think of it like this. Imagine you were given a small sapling and told to plant it. But the soil you were given was filled with rocks and lacked nutrients. You can water that sapling every day, give it sunlight, and tend to it with love, but it will always struggle to grow because its roots are constrained by the poor quality of the soil it was planted in. Your inherited beliefs are that soil. Many of us are trying to grow a mighty oak of abundance in the toxic soil of our ancestors' financial fears. I worked with a man once, a successful executive who, despite earning a high six-figure salary, was constantly in debt. He just couldn't hold on to money. We dug deep, and he eventually remembered his father, a man who had lost everything in a business venture, repeating over and over again at the dinner table, "As soon as you get it, they take it away." This belief that wealth was fleeting and would inevitably be lost was running his life. Subconsciously, he was getting rid of his money as fast as he could, because holding on to it felt dangerous. It felt like waiting for the other shoe to drop. The healing for him began the moment he could see that belief not as a universal truth, but as his father's painful story, a story he was no longer required to live. The second veil is that of personal money traumas. These are the painful experiences from your own life that have created a strong emotional charge around money. Perhaps it was a bankruptcy, a significant financial loss, a betrayal over money, or the shame of not being able to provide for yourself or your family at some point. These events create an energetic wound, and just like a physical wound, if it is not properly cleaned and healed, it will fester. Your subconscious mind, in its attempt to protect you from experiencing that pain again, will create powerful strategies of avoidance. This can manifest as a chronic fear of investing because you lost money in the market once. It can manifest as an inability to charge what you're worth because you were once shamed for asking for a raise. It can even manifest as an addiction to overspending, a desperate attempt to soothe the old pain of lack with the temporary pleasure of acquisition. It's a protection mechanism gone haywire. Your subconscious thinks, if having money leads to that much pain, then let's make sure we never have too much of it again. It's a deeply flawed logic, but it comes from a place of self-preservation. The key to healing personal money trauma is to approach it not with judgment, but with compassion. These are your battle scars. They tell a story of survival. Our work in the later rituals will be to gently clean these wounds, to acknowledge the pain, and to release the trapped emotional energy so that you are no longer making financial decisions from a place of fear, but from a place of wisdom and power. If this idea feels uncomfortable, good. That means we're touching on a truth that needs to be healed. Stay with it. The freedom on the other side is immeasurable. Finally, we have the third and perhaps most complex veil for the audience of this channel: spiritual misconceptions. This is the inner conflict we spoke of earlier. The deeply ingrained, often unspoken belief that holiness and poverty are somehow linked. That to be spiritual, one must be non-material. This is a distortion of ancient wisdom that has caused immense suffering. It's the idea that wanting money is greedy, that charging for spiritual services is wrong, that wealth corrupts the soul. This block is particularly tricky because it masquerades as virtue. It feels righteous. But let me be clear, abundance is your birthright. The universe is infinitely abundant. Scarcity is a human construct born of fear. There is nothing spiritual about lack. Lack limits your ability to contribute, to create, to experience, and to give. Money, when channeled through a conscious and heart-centered individual, becomes a powerful tool for good. It can build temples, feed the hungry, fund healing, and spread knowledge. To reject money on spiritual grounds is to reject a powerful tool for positive change. The true spiritual path is not about rejecting the material world, but about infusing it with consciousness. It is about becoming such a clear channel that abundance flows through you to bless your life and the lives of others. It is about understanding that your financial well-being is a reflection of your energetic alignment and the value you bring to the collective. So, I invite you now to take a moment of honest self-reflection. Under which of these veils do your primary blocks reside? Is it the soil of your upbringing, the inherited beliefs? Is it the scar tissue from your past, the personal money traumas? Or is it the gilded cage of your ideals, the spiritual misconceptions? For most of us, it is a combination of all three. But by simply naming them, by bringing them from the darkness of the subconscious into the light of your awareness, you have already begun the alchemical process. You have taken the first step in separating yourself from your stories. You are no longer the story. You are the one who is observing it. And from this place of the observer, you have the power to write a new one. In the coming chapters, we will begin to do just that. Chapter 3, The Alchemical Forge, Breathwork to Ground. Your financial energy. We have identified the nature of financial flow and unmasked the veils of our subconscious blocks. Now the practical alchemy begins. And it starts not with the mind, but with the body. It starts with the breath. Why? Because your financial resistance, your money blocks, are not just abstract ideas. They are stored in your body as physical tension, as a pattern in your nervous system. When you think about a large bill or a business opportunity that feels too big, what happens? Your stomach clenches, your shoulders tighten, your breath becomes shallow. This is your body's survival response, triggered by the old faulty code. Before we can rewrite the code, we must first calm the system. Breathwork is the key to the alchemical forge. It is the bellows that stokes the inner fire of transformation. Conscious, deep breathing is the fastest and most effective way to shift your state from the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight mode of stress and scarcity, to the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode of safety, openness and receptivity. You cannot receive abundance from a state of contraction. You can only receive from a state of expansion. The breath is the switch that controls this state. I want to share a simple but profoundly powerful technique with you now, which I call the 4-7-8 abundance grounding. This will be our first ritual. It's a practice you can do anytime you feel financial anxiety creeping in, before opening a bill, before a salary negotiation, or simply as a daily practice to retrain your nervous system to associate money with calm, not chaos. It's incredibly simple, and that's why it works. The most profound truths often are. Find a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down. Close your eyes if that feels right for you. Place one hand on your heart and the other on your lower belly. This physical touch sends a signal of safety to your body. Now let's begin. First, exhale completely through your mouth, making a gentle whooshing sound. Empty your lungs entirely. Get all the stale, stagnant air out. Next, close your mouth and inhale quietly through your nose for a count of 4. As you inhale, feel your lower belly expand into your hand. This is crucial. We are activating the diaphragm, which sends a powerful signal of calm to the vagus nerve. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold your breath for a count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In this pause, there is stillness. In this stillness, you are creating a space between stimulus and response. You are reclaiming your power from unconscious reaction. Finally, exhale completely and audibly through your mouth for a count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As you exhale, imagine you are releasing all financial tension from your body. Visualize stress, worry, and scarcity leaving your system like a gray smoke. That is one cycle. Let's do it together 3 more times. Inhale through your nose. 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath with a feeling of calm. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale through your mouth, releasing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again. Inhale peace and possibility. 2, 3, 4. Hold in a state of quiet power. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale all doubt and limitation. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last one. Make it your most intentional breath yet. Inhale deeply, filling yourself with the energy of worthiness. 2, 3, 4. Hold, knowing that you are safe and supported. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And exhale, letting go of every last remnant of the old story. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now just sit for a moment in the stillness. Notice the shift in your body, the slight tingling in your hands, the slowing of your heart rate, the quiet in your mind. This is the state of receptivity. This is the fertile ground from which abundance can grow. You have just used your own life force, your breath, to alchemically alter your physiological and energetic state. This practice is your foundation. I encourage you to make it a non-negotiable part of your day. Perhaps you do it for 5 minutes upon waking to set a tone of calm for your day. Perhaps you do it before sleep to release any financial anxieties you've accumulated. The consistency is what matters. You are, quite literally, carving a new neural pathway in your brain. You are teaching your body on a cellular level that it is safe to think about money. It is safe to receive money. It is safe to be wealthy. I remember when I first started my journey, I was filled with a nervous, restless energy, a hustle mindset. I thought being busy meant being productive. And my finances reflected that chaos. Money would come in, but it would fly out just as fast. It had no place to land. It was only when I committed to a daily grounding practice, much like this one, that things began to change. I started making decisions from a place of centered calm, not frantic need. The energy I projected shifted from I need to I am ready to receive, and the universe responded in kind. So do not underestimate the power of this first ritual. It is the forge where the hard, brittle metal of your old beliefs is heated, softened, and made ready to be reshaped. Before we can build the new temple of prosperity, we must first prepare the ground. The breath is your shovel. It is your pickaxe. It is your most fundamental tool of creation. Use it wisely. Use it daily. And watch as the very ground of your financial reality begins to soften and become fertile once more. Chapter 4. The Mind's Eye, Visualization to Open Pathways of Prosperity. Having grounded our energy in the body through breath, we now move to the next alchemical stage, the reprogramming of the mind. Our subconscious mind does not think in words. It thinks in images and feelings. This is why you can repeat affirmations all day long, but if you don't feel them to be true, and if you can't see them in your mind's eye, they are like seeds scattered on concrete. They have no soil in which to germinate. Visualization is the process of planting new seeds directly into the fertile soil of the subconscious. This is our second ritual, the visualization of inevitable flow. This is not about fantasizing about a lottery win. It is a disciplined practice of creating a detailed, sensory-rich inner experience of your desired financial reality so consistently that your brain begins to accept it as truth. When your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined reality and your current physical reality, it will work tirelessly to resolve the conflict by manifesting the inner vision into the outer world. It must. That is its function. Let me tell you about a concept from neuroscience called Hebb's Law. It's often simplified to neurons that fire together, wire together. Every time you have a thought, a feeling, or perform an action, a specific network of neurons fires in your brain. The more you repeat that thought or feeling, the stronger that neural pathway becomes. For years, the neural pathway associated with money in your brain has likely been wired to neurons associated with anxiety, stress, lack, and struggle. Our task with visualization is to consciously and deliberately unwire that old pathway and build a new, powerful one. We are going to wire money to peace, freedom, joy, and ease. Here is the practice. I suggest doing this immediately after your grounding breathwork, when your body is relaxed and your mind is receptive. Begin by closing your eyes and taking a few deep, grounding breaths. Now, I want you to imagine a version of yourself that is already living in a state of complete financial abundance. Don't just think about having $1 million in the bank. That's too abstract. We need to make it real. We need to engage the senses. What does this version of you look like? See them in your mind's eye. See the calm confidence in their posture. See the relaxed expression on their face. See the quality of the clothes they are wearing, not necessarily expensive, but chosen with care and a sense of self-worth. Now step into this version of you. See the world through their eyes. Look around you. Where are you? Perhaps you're in a beautiful home, sunlight streaming through the windows. Feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. Perhaps you're walking on a beach, feeling the sand between your toes and hearing the sound of the waves. Or maybe you're in an office, working on a project you are deeply passionate about, a project that is a vehicle for your contribution to the world. Make the environment as real and detailed as possible. What are you doing in this reality? Perhaps you are making a generous donation to a cause you believe in. Feel the joy and satisfaction of that act. Feel the warmth in your heart. Perhaps you are booking a dream vacation for your family. Feel the excitement and anticipation. Perhaps you are paying a bill. But notice how you are paying it. You are not paying it with a clenched stomach and a sense of loss. You are paying it with a sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the service provided. Gratitude that you have more than enough to cover it. Feel the ease and flow in that simple transaction. This is the most critical part. You must feel the emotions. The feeling is the fuel. It is the magnetic charge that draws the reality to you. So, what does it feel like to be this version of you? It's not just excitement. Go deeper. Does it feel like peace? Does it feel like security? Does it feel like freedom? Does it feel like a profound sense of safety in the world? Let that core emotion wash over you. Let every cell in your body vibrate with this feeling of peaceful abundance. This is the frequency we are tuning to. A common mistake people make is visualizing the what, the car, the house, the number in the account, but they forget to visualize the who. The person you must become to attract and sustain that reality. So spend time visualizing yourself making wise, calm, and inspired decisions with your money. See yourself checking your investments with a feeling of confidence, not fear. See yourself having generous, open-hearted conversations about money with your loved ones. You are not just visualizing an outcome. You are rehearsing a new way of being. A client of mine, a small business owner, struggled for years with a cycle of feast or famine. He would land a big client, then spend months in a state of lack. We discovered his visualization was only focused on the feast part, the moment of closing the deal. He had no inner picture of what happened next. So we shifted his practice. He began visualizing the entire cycle of flow. He saw himself celebrating the new client, then calmly allocating the funds to his savings, to his business reinvestment, to his taxes, to a personal reward. He visualized himself peacefully marketing his business during the feast time, planting seeds for the future instead of panicking. He created an inner movie of sustainable prosperity, not just a snapshot of a win. Within 6 months, his income stabilized and began to grow consistently for the first time in his career. He had created a new pathway in his mind, and his reality reconfigured itself to match it. If you find this video valuable and feel it shifting something within you, I encourage you to share it with someone you know who is on a similar journey. The act of sharing wisdom is a powerful way to affirm that you are a channel for abundance. Commit to this ritual for at least 10 minutes every day. Be patient and be persistent. You are an artist, and your inner world is your canvas. With every session, you are adding more color, more detail, more life to your masterpiece. You are building a new neural pathway, neuron by neuron. And soon, that pathway will become a superhighway, the default road your mind travels down, the road that leads you home, to the abundance that is already yours. Chapter 5. The Resonance Principle. Energetic tuning for the abundance frequency. We have grounded the body and programmed the mind. Now we enter the realm of pure energy, the subtle yet powerful domain of vibration. This is where the deepest alchemy occurs. The universe, at its most fundamental level, is not made of solid matter. It is made of vibrating energy. Everything, your thoughts, your emotions, the chair you're sitting on, the money in your wallet, has a unique vibrational frequency. The law of attraction, in its essence, is the law of resonance. Like a radio tuned to 98.7 FM cannot receive the broadcast from 103.5 FM. It's not that the 103.5 broadcast doesn't exist. It's simply that the receiver is not tuned to its frequency. Your emotional state is your vibrational tuner. Feelings of fear, shame, lack, and worry vibrate at a low frequency. Feelings of joy, gratitude, love, and peace vibrate at a high frequency. Abundance, prosperity, and wealth are high-frequency energies. Therefore, you cannot create abundance from a low vibrational state. You can't tune your radio to the scarcity station and expect to hear the music of abundance. The frequencies simply do not match. This brings us to our third and perhaps most potent ritual, energetic tuning through gratitude amplification. Many people treat gratitude as a polite thank you to the universe after they receive something. But the alchemist understands that gratitude is not a response, it is a cause. Gratitude is the tuning fork. When you genuinely feel gratitude before the manifestation, you are calibrating your energy field to the frequency of already having it. You are telling the universe, I am a vibrational match to the reality I desire. This ritual goes beyond simply listing what you're thankful for. We are going to actively use the feeling of gratitude to transmute lower frequency emotions associated with money. Here's how it works. Find your quiet space, ideally after your breathwork and visualization. Close your eyes. First, I want you to bring to mind something in your life completely unrelated to money for which you feel profound and genuine gratitude. It could be a loved one, a pet, a beautiful sunset you once saw, the feeling of your body being healthy. Choose something that easily and effortlessly fills your heart with warmth. Don't just think about it. Feel it. Let the emotion of gratitude wash over you. Where do you feel it in your body? Is it a warmth in your chest? A lightness in your head? A smile on your face? Anchor yourself in this physical sensation. This is the pure, high-frequency energy of gratitude. This is our tuning fork. Stay with this feeling for a few minutes, letting it expand and fill your entire being. Now, while holding on to that feeling, we are going to gently introduce the subject of money. This is the alchemical step. We are going to bathe a subject that normally causes contraction in an energy that causes expansion. While still feeling that warmth in your chest, I want you to think about a single dollar, or whatever your local currency is, that you have in your possession right now. It could be in your bank, in your wallet, or a coin in a jar. Hold the image of that single unit of currency in your mind. Now, instead of seeing it as just a dollar, I want you to see it as a symbol of the infinite flow of abundance. And I want you to extend that feeling of profound gratitude to it. Thank it. Thank it for choosing to be with you on its journey. Thank it for the things it can provide, the electricity it can buy, the food it can purchase, the services it can pay for. Feel genuine appreciation for this $1. Feel how it connects you to a global network of commerce and human endeavor. Feel gratitude for the system that allows this exchange of value. Notice what happens in your body. If you feel any contraction or resistance, that's okay. Simply breathe into it and keep applying the warm, expansive feeling of gratitude. You are literally overwriting the old energetic signature. Once you feel comfortable and genuinely grateful for that single dollar, we are going to expand the practice. Think of a bill you paid recently. An electricity bill, a phone bill, rent. The old pattern is to pay it with a feeling of loss, of scarcity. There goes my money. Today, we are going to change that. Bring the image of that bill into your mind. And now, flood it with gratitude. Thank the electricity company for powering your home, for giving you light and warmth. Thank the landlord for providing you with shelter and safety. Thank the telecommunications company for connecting you with your loved ones. See the money you sent them not as a loss, but as a grateful exchange for value received. Feel the joy of being able to participate in that exchange. By doing this, you transform every expense from a low-vibration event into a high-vibration act of gratitude. This single shift is one of the most powerful things you can do to heal your relationship with money. A woman I once counseled was drowning in debt and filled with a deep sense of shame. Every bill that arrived sent her into a panic spiral. Her frequency was tuned to pure lack. I asked her to try this practice. For 1 month, her only task was that every time she thought about her debt or her bills, she had to stop, find something to be grateful for, generate that feeling, and then send that feeling to her debts. It felt absurd to her at first. "How can I be grateful for debt?" she asked. I explained, "You are grateful for what the debt provided. The education, the home, the car that got you to work. You are shifting the energy from shame to appreciation for the value you already received." It was a slow process, but after a few weeks, the panic attacks stopped. She started to feel a sense of power instead of victimhood. And from that new, higher vibrational state, she found the clarity to create a payment plan, discovered a new income opportunity, and slowly but surely turned her entire situation around. She didn't change her external situation first. She changed her energy, and the external situation had no choice but to follow. This is the resonance principle in action. Your reality is a mirror of your dominant vibration. So your daily ritual is to consciously choose the frequency of gratitude and appreciation. Practice it with small amounts of money. Practice it with your expenses. Practice gratitude for the money you don't have yet, knowing that the universal supply is infinite and that by feeling grateful now, you are tuning yourself to its channel. You are becoming a radio receiver perfectly calibrated to the frequency of wealth. Chapter 6. The Forgiveness Ledger, Rituals to Heal Money, Shame and Guilt. We have now worked with the body, the mind, and the energy field. We come now to the heart. This is often the most difficult, and therefore the most liberating work of all. This is where we confront the dense, heavy energies of shame and guilt that are tethered to our financial past. These emotions are among the lowest vibrations we can experience. They are absolute anchors that hold us in a state of unworthiness, making it impossible for the high frequency of abundance to flow through us. We must release these anchors, and the tool for this is the fourth ritual, the alchemical act of forgiveness. Forgiveness, in this context, is not about condoning past mistakes or letting others off the hook. Alchemical forgiveness is a deeply personal act of cutting the energetic cords that tie you to the pain of the past. It is about reclaiming the vast amounts of life force energy that are currently being used to sustain old resentments, regrets, and feelings of shame. That energy, once liberated, can then be redirected towards creating the future you desire. This ritual involves forgiving 3 entities: others who have harmed you financially, yourself for your past financial mistakes, and the energy of money itself for the role you've projected onto it. Let's begin with forgiving others. Take a piece of paper and a pen. This is your forgiveness ledger. On one side, I want you to write down the names of any person or institution that you feel has wronged you financially. A business partner who cheated you, a parent whose financial irresponsibility caused you pain, a company that laid you off unfairly, a former spouse whose actions left you in a difficult position. Write it all down without censorship. Next to each name, write down the specific transgression. And then, and this is the key, write down how it made you feel. Betrayed, abandoned, foolish, angry, powerless. Acknowledge the depth of this pain. Give it a voice. This is not about wallowing. It's about validating your experience. Now take a few deep breaths. Look at the first name on your list. And I want you to say, either aloud or in your heart, these words: I see the pain you have caused me. I acknowledge the anger and resentment I've been carrying. I now choose, for my own freedom and my own peace, to release you from the prison of my resentment. I cut the energetic cord between us. I forgive you, not for you, but for me. I reclaim my power. Feel that. You may need to do this many times. You may feel a wave of emotion. Let it come. Tears are a powerful form of energetic release. You are not saying what they did was okay. You are saying, I will no longer allow what you did to have power over my present and my future. I will no longer drink this poison and expect you to suffer. Now we turn to the most challenging part, forgiving yourself. On the other side of your ledger, I want you to write down every financial mistake for which you carry shame or guilt. The bad investment, the failed business, the period of overspending, the opportunity you were too afraid to take. Be brutally honest. Our inner critic is often our harshest jailer. I remember a time early in my journey when I made a terrible investment based on emotion rather than wisdom. I lost an amount of money that at the time felt catastrophic. The shame was suffocating. For years, that single event defined my financial identity. I saw myself as the one who messes things up. That belief, that shame, caused me to be so risk-averse, so timid, that I missed countless opportunities for growth. The initial loss was painful, but the shame I carried for years afterward was infinitely more costly. Look at your list. For each item, I want you to place a hand on your heart and say these words. At that time, with the knowledge, awareness, and resources I had, I did the best I could. I now see the lesson this experience was here to teach me. The lesson of name the lesson, e.g. patience, discernment, self-worth. I forgive myself for not knowing then what I know now. I release the weight of this shame. I am free to make new, empowered choices. Repeat this for every item on your list. This is about compassion. It's about seeing your past self not as a failure, but as a student who was learning a difficult lesson. Every mistake was a stepping stone that brought you to the awareness you have today. Honor the journey. Forgive the student. Finally, we must forgive money itself. This may sound strange, but many of us have unconsciously projected a villainous identity onto money. We see it as the source of our problems, the root of all evil. We have made it the scapegoat for human greed, fear, and corruption. But money, as we've established, is neutral energy. So for our final act of forgiveness, close your eyes. Visualize money as a being or a golden energy and speak to it from your heart. Say, I forgive you for the role I have made you play in my life. I release you from my projections of you as being evil, scarce, or the source of my pain. I now choose to see you as you are, a neutral, supportive energy of exchange. I'm willing to have a new, healthy, and powerful relationship with you. When you have completed these 3 acts of forgiveness, I want you to take your forgiveness ledger to a safe place and burn it. As you watch the paper turn to ash, visualize all the heavy, dense energy of shame, resentment, and guilt dissolving. You are releasing the past. You are clearing your ledger with the universe. You are making space. And into this new open space created by forgiveness, abundance can now begin to flow. This ritual may need to be revisited, but each time you do it, you release another layer and you become lighter, clearer, and more magnetic to the prosperity that awaits you. Chapter 7, The Mirror of Worth. Cultivating an unshakable deservingness. After clearing the debts of the past through forgiveness, we arrive at the very core of our alchemical work, the cultivation of worthiness. This is our 5th ritual, the Mirror of Worth, and it is, without question, the linchpin that holds the entire structure of abundance together. You can clear your blocks, you can visualize, you can tune your frequency, but if, at the deepest level of your being, you do not feel worthy of receiving wealth, you will find a way to repel it. It is a fundamental law. Your outer reality cannot sustainably exceed your inner sense of deservingness. A feeling of unworthiness is the ultimate self-sabotage program. It works in silent, subtle ways. It's the voice that tells you not to apply for the promotion because you're not qualified enough. It's the hesitation to raise your prices because who would pay that? It's the discomfort you feel when someone gives you a generous gift or a compliment. It's the inexplicable urge to spend money frivolously as soon as you receive a windfall, as if to get rid of the evidence before the worthiness police come and take it away. It's a deep-seated energetic broadcast that says, I am not enough. And the universe, which is an impeccable mirror, simply reflects that belief back to you. I worked with a brilliant healer who was truly gifted. Her clients had profound transformations, yet she was barely scraping by. When we explored her beliefs, we found a core wound from her childhood. She had a sibling who was academically gifted, and her parents constantly praised that sibling's achievements. She, being more creative and intuitive, was often overlooked. She internalized the story. My value is not recognized. What I have to offer isn't as important. This single story was dictating her entire financial life. She was subconsciously recreating her childhood dynamic by undercharging and over-delivering, constantly seeking the validation she never received. Her healing didn't come from a new business strategy. It came from the daily practice of recognizing her own intrinsic worth. Separate from any external validation, the Mirror of Worth ritual is designed to directly challenge and overwrite this faulty, I am not worthy code. It requires courage, because it will feel uncomfortable at first. Your ego and your old programming will resist it. But you must persist. Here is the practice. You will need a mirror. Each morning, before you begin your day, or each evening before you sleep, stand in front of that mirror. I want you to look directly into your own eyes. This is important. Don't just glance at your reflection. Make eye contact with the being looking back at you. Take a few grounding breaths. And then, I want you to speak a series of powerful declarations of worthiness aloud. Your voice is a vibrational tool. Speaking the words gives them power in the physical realm. Start with this. Your name, I see you. I acknowledge your journey and all you have overcome. Then continue with these or similar phrases that resonate with you. Speak them slowly with conviction. Feel the meaning of the words. You are inherently worthy of all the abundance the universe has to offer. Your worth is not tied to your productivity, your bank account, or the approval of others. You deserve to be outrageously well compensated for the value you bring to the world. It is safe for you to be powerful and prosperous. You are a beloved and essential part of this universe, and you are worthy of receiving support in all its forms, including money. I love you and I approve of you, exactly as you are. The first few times you do this, it may feel incredibly awkward. You might want to laugh or cry. Your inner critic might scream that you're lying. This is a normal part of the process. It's the old program fighting for its survival. Your job is to simply continue. Be the calm, loving presence that holds space for that resistance without buying into it. Keep looking into your own eyes and speaking the truth of your worth. After you speak the declarations, remain in front of the mirror for another minute in silence. Simply be with yourself. Send a wave of love and acceptance from your heart to the person in the reflection. End the practice by placing a hand on your heart and saying, "And so it is." To amplify this ritual, create a worthiness evidence journal. Every single day, I want you to write down at least 3 pieces of evidence that affirm your value and worth. This could be a compliment someone gave you, a task you completed well, a moment you were kind to a stranger, a creative idea you had. We are training your brain's reticular activating system, its filtering mechanism, to actively search for proof of your worthiness, rather than its default setting of searching for proof of your inadequacy. For weeks, one of my clients insisted he had nothing to write in his journal. "I just go to work and come home," he said. I pushed him. "Did you hold the door for someone? Did you make a colleague laugh? Did you solve a small problem? Did you resist an old negative habit?" Slowly he began to see. He had been defining value only in terms of grand, monumental achievements. He started to recognize the hundreds of small ways he contributed value to the world every single day. This simple act of daily acknowledgement began to rebuild his shattered sense of self-worth from the ground up. This is not an exercise in ego. It is an exercise in truth. You were born worthy. Nothing you have ever done or failed to do has changed that fundamental truth. You have just forgotten. This ritual is the act of remembering. It is the process of polishing the mirror of your soul until it reflects back to you the magnificent, deserving, and infinitely abundant being you have always been. Chapter 8. The Art of Inspired Action. Moving beyond the hustle mindset, we have done a tremendous amount of inner work. We have cleared, tuned, forgiven, and affirmed. And now we must bridge the inner world with the outer. For alchemy is not a passive pursuit. It is the art of turning inner states into outer results. This is where we encounter our sixth ritual, the practice of discerning and following inspired action. This is crucial because many people in the spiritual community fall into the trap of passive manifestation, believing that if they just meditate and visualize enough, a check will magically appear in the mail. While the universe can certainly surprise us, it most often works through us. However, the action required by the universe is very different from the action dictated by the ego and the hustle culture. Hustle culture is born from the frequency of scarcity. It is frantic, forceful, and rooted in the belief that if I don't make it happen, it won't happen. It's about pushing the river. It leads to burnout, resentment, and often mediocre results, because it is not aligned with the natural flow of energy. Inspired action, on the other hand, is born from the frequency of abundance and alignment. It feels different. It's calm, clear, and often effortless. It feels less like pushing and more like being pulled. It's the gentle nudge from your intuition, the sudden, brilliant idea that drops into your mind while you're in the shower. The coincidence of bumping into the exact person you needed to meet. Inspired action is the universe showing you the next logical step on your path. Your job is to cultivate the sensitivity to hear the instruction and the trust to follow it. So, how do we discern the difference? The primary indicator is the feeling. Hustle action feels like a should. I should make 50 cold calls today. It's often accompanied by a feeling of pressure, anxiety, and a tightening in the body. Inspired action feels like a what if, or a gentle yes. What if I just reached out to that one person who's been on my mind? It's accompanied by a feeling of curiosity, expansion, lightness, and even excitement. The ritual here is a practice of daily stillness and inquiry. Every morning, after your meditation and visualization, instead of immediately rushing into your to-do list, I want you to sit for 5 more minutes in silence. And I want you to ask your higher self, the universe, or whatever you believe in, this simple question: what is the one thing I can do today that will bring me closer to my vision of abundance, that also feels joyful and expansive? And then you listen. Do not force an answer. Just create a space of quiet receptivity. The answer may not come as a booming voice. It might be a subtle feeling, a gentle pull towards a certain task, the memory of a conversation you had yesterday, an urge to read a certain book or visit a certain website. Pay attention to these subtle cues. This is the language of your intuition. I once coached a writer who was completely blocked. She was trying to force herself to write a book she thought would be commercially successful. It was a should. Every day she sat at her desk, it was a battle. She hated it. During this ritual, she kept getting a persistent, quiet image of her grandmother's old recipe book. It made no sense. It had nothing to do with her career, but it wouldn't go away. Finally, trusting the process, she spent a day just looking through it, remembering the stories behind the recipes. This single, inspired action unlocked a flood of creativity. She ended up writing a best-selling memoir woven around her family's recipes. The universe was trying to guide her down a path of ease and joy, but her hustle mindset was too loud to hear it. The second part of this ritual is to act on the guidance you receive, especially when it doesn't make logical sense. This is an act of faith. It's you demonstrating to the universe that you trust its guidance. Often the inspired action is a small, simple step. Make the call, send the email, draft the proposal, buy the domain name. The key is to take the action without attachment to the outcome. You are not doing it to get something. You are doing it because it feels aligned. You are following the energetic breadcrumbs. As you begin this practice, it's a great time to ask for feedback on your journey. I invite you to comment below with one inspired action you have been feeling a nudge to take. By declaring it, you make it more real, and by reading the experiences of others, we all learn and grow together. A critical aspect of this is managing the inner saboteur that will inevitably arise. When you receive an inspired idea, the voice of fear and doubt will often follow close behind. That's a stupid idea. It will never work. Who do you think you are? Your work is not to fight this voice, but to acknowledge it and act anyway. Thank it for trying to keep you safe, and then calmly and lovingly choose the path of expansion. Say, I hear your concern, but I'm going to try this anyway. This is a dance between being and doing. The being part, the meditation, visualization, and energy work, tunes your radio receiver. The doing part, the inspired action, is you walking over and collecting the prize you've already won. You spend the majority of your time cultivating the inner state of abundance, and from that state you take small, joyful, and highly effective actions. This is how you create sustainable wealth without sacrificing your soul. You stop pushing the river, and instead, you learn to gracefully steer your boat in its powerful, inevitable current. Chapter 9. The Sacred Act of Receiving, Becoming a Gracious Steward of Wealth. We arrive at the final ritual, the one that closes the loop and ensures the continuous circulation of abundance in your life. We have learned how to clear our channel, align our energy, and take inspired action. But all of this is for naught if we are not open to receiving what the universe sends us. This is our 7th ritual, the conscious practice of gracious receiving. For many spiritually minded people, this is surprisingly difficult. We are often wonderful givers, but terrible receivers. This inability to receive stems from the same root of unworthiness we addressed earlier. When someone gives us a compliment, we deflect it. Oh, this old thing? When someone offers to pay for lunch, we feel an uncomfortable sense of obligation. When an opportunity that feels too good to be true appears, we question it, suspecting there must be a catch. Each of these is an act of energetic refusal. It is like telling the universe, no thank you, I am not worthy of this. And the universe, honoring your free will stop sending things to you. Receiving is a skill. It is a muscle that must be developed. It is a sacred act that honors both the giver and the gift. When you receive graciously, you give the other person the gift of being a giver. You complete the energetic circuit of exchange. The practice is twofold. First, it is an internal commitment. You must make a conscious decision that you are now open to receiving abundance in all its forms, expected and unexpected. This means money, yes, but also opportunities, compliments, ideas, help and love. Say this to yourself now: I am open and willing to receive all the good the universe has for me. Second, you must practice in the real world. For the next week, I want you to make it your mission to receive without deflecting or apologizing. When someone gives you a compliment, your only job is to breathe it in, make eye contact and say, thank you. I receive that. Feel the warmth of their words. Let it nourish you. Don't diminish it. Don't explain it away. Just receive it. When someone offers you a small gift, a cup of coffee, help with a task, accept it with a simple, heartfelt, thank you so much. Do not immediately start calculating how you will pay them back. That turns a gift into a transaction. Simply allow yourself to be supported. This practice retrains your nervous system. It teaches your body and your subconscious mind that it is safe to receive, that you are worthy of support, that good things can come to you easily and without strings attached. As you become a better receiver, the final piece of this puzzle clicks into place: conscious stewardship. Once the abundance begins to flow into your life, you are not meant to hoard it. Remember, it is a currency. It is meant to flow. But now, it flows through you, guided by your consciousness and your values. You become a steward of this financial energy. This means managing your money with mindfulness and intention. It means honoring the energy by directing it towards things that bring you joy, that support your well-being, and that contribute to the world in a positive way. It means saving and investing not from a place of fear for the future, but from a place of love for your future self. It means spending with gratitude, knowing that you are supporting other people's livelihoods. It means donating and giving with joy, participating in the beautiful dance of circulation. I had a client who, after applying these principles, received a large, unexpected inheritance. His first reaction was terror. He was so afraid of losing it or mismanaging it that he left it sitting in a low-interest savings account, paralyzed. His channel was open enough to receive, but he hadn't yet learned to be a steward. Our work then shifted to creating a soulful financial plan. We aligned every dollar with his deepest values. A portion for freedom, investments, a portion for joy, travel and experiences, a portion for learning, courses and books, and a portion for contribution, charity. By giving the money a purpose aligned with his soul, his fear dissolved and was replaced by a sense of joyful responsibility. He was no longer a fearful guard of a pile of cash. He was a conscious director of a powerful flow of energy. This is the ultimate goal. To not just attract wealth, but to embody abundance. To become a person through whom prosperity flows freely, in and out, touching your life with peace and freedom, and rippling out to bless the world. It is a continuous cycle. The more consciously you steward the energy, the more the universe entrusts to you. The more you graciously receive, the more you have to give. By mastering these 9 rituals, from grounding in your breath to graciously receiving, you are not just changing your finances. You are changing your entire way of being. You are stepping into the truth of who you are, a powerful creator, an alchemist of energy, and a deserving channel for all the abundance the universe has to offer. Outro, embodying abundance as your natural state. And so, our journey through these 9 alchemical rituals comes to a close. But your personal journey of transformation is just beginning. We have traveled far. We have moved from the intellectual understanding of abundance to the embodied practice of it. We have cleared the channel, tuned our resonance, and learned the sacred dance of giving and receiving. Remember that this is not a one-time fix. It is a lifelong practice. It is a returning day after day to the truth of who you are. Some days will feel easy, like you are soaring on the currents of flow. Other days, you will feel the pull of old patterns. Be compassionate with yourself. Simply return to the rituals. Return to your breath. Return to the mirror. Each time you do, you strengthen the new neural pathways. You deepen the riverbed of your prosperity. The goal is not to get $1 million. The goal is to become the person for whom that level of abundance is a natural, inevitable expression of their being. Abundance is not something you acquire. It is something you become. It is a state of consciousness that you choose, moment by moment, breath by breath. It is the deep, unshakable knowing that you are safe, you are supported, and you are infinitely worthy. As you continue on your path, there are resources here to support you. On the left, you will find our playlist, The Foundations of Abundance, to help you deepen your understanding of these core principles. And on the right, you will find a video the universe has selected specifically for your journey next. Trust the guidance. If this work has resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe and join our community of fellow alchemists. Together, we are creating a new paradigm of wealth, one rooted in consciousness, purpose, and integrity. This is Elias Vance, reminding you, the greatest alchemy is the transformation of self, and the greatest wealth you will ever own is the knowledge of who you truly are.